Hey guys, Mangoes. I'm on Avalus, and I just kind of wanted to do a quick video and explain to you guys how some of the more advanced systems of Avalon HCRP are going to work. How I want and think the first week of the server is going to look, maybe the first month, and just kind of go over some things with you guys and clear up any confusion that might be arising. So I'm going to start with the construction system and how that's going to work. The purpose of this construction system is to make it so that instead of having just a castle, Vorn, and Vorn has 2 gates, a couple markets, just really basic stuff, and you don't have any ownership of it, you don't have any connection to it, no feeling, it doesn't matter to you, it's always been there. You had no hand in it. It's just a castle. I'm trying to get away with that and get away from that and really give players more of a sense of belonging and home, and this is where I live. This is where I'm from. I built this. I've worked for this. I have my house here. I have my workshop here. All my people that I know live here, and just give places more life and feeling and actual attachment to them. And the building system is one of the ways that I would like to accomplish this. So I'm going to use the Empire campus as an example here of how building things is going to look, and how the map and server and villages, cities, towns, everything is going to develop as it goes on. So here we've got the Empire camp, very basic. Couple tents, couple workshops, few fields that are unpopulated right now because it is winter. Just very, very basic, open. This is how everyone's gonna start. It's gonna be rough, it's gonna be hard, and that is intended. So, say I am the leader of the Empire, or I'm a prominent faction house lead, someone that has a few people following me at least, and I want to build a palisade wall. And that's why I need the few people, is because I'm building a palisade wall, not something super small like a well or a small shack. I can't build a palisade by myself. I definitely need people to help me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the overhead map that's been provided, and I'm going to say from here I want a palisade, and I'm going to go in Paint or any program really. I really am very open with this. I don't care how you draw it out. I just want the players to kind of tell me what they want. Give me an idea. And I'm going to go and I'm going to draw, say, a square from here to over here to down here to down here and back up to here. And, I'm going to draw and I'm going to say this is a gate, this is a gate, this is a gate. I want a tower here, I want a square tower here, I want a lookout here. I want, more workshops, like a herbalist hut over here. I want more fields over here. And I want to start digging a mine in the side of this mountain. Stuff like that. So you're going to send that in. That's going to be our application. The admin team's then going to look at that. And we're going to say, okay, you're building a palisade. You're going to need wood for that. You're going to need stones. You're going to need nails. Just really basic materials. Kind of break it down. And, we're going to need 500 wood. Stuff like that. You're going to want a herbalist tent. Okay, you're going to need some linen for that. You're going to need some sticks. And the mine. You're going to need iron for tools. And sticks, I guess, for tools too. And we're going to go back to you and we're going to say, okay, you need to get these things, and we will add that to the map. All right, cool. You get those things, right? Put them in a chest. Admin deletes them, which is our way of using them. And the mapper will go in and he will add all of those things for you. And you now have built that thing for your faction. It's now added to the map. It's not going anywhere. It's, you have a bit of a story behind this wall. We planned it out like this. This is the east gate. It's our main gate. It's what we planned out. It's where we lay our main defensive line, stuff like that. It just really gives the players more control over the world around them and what they're wanting to build. And skipping forward a bit, let's use our imagination here and say the Empire has built a village here. It's one of many villages they have, but this is the one where you are right now. You've been in town for a little bit. You're a bit of a prominent member. You visit the market a lot, talk to the farmers, help out where needed, and you want to build a church. So you go to the Baron of the village, obviously, and you explain to him, hey, I'm looking to build a church. Here's what I was thinking. Here's where I want it. Okay, he agrees. So you put in a building application for a church there. The admin team looks at it. We say, okay, you're building a church, you're going to need stones, you're going to need wood, you're going to need fabric, maybe some steel for a couple of the building columns, stuff like that, right? You get that done, church is built. We have the ability on Avalon now to set private doors. So if you want an area in the back of that church and you say, all right, this is where I'm going to sleep and I'm going to put all my stuff and I'm just going to kind of be the priest of this church. This is my priest quarters. We now have the ability to lock doors to players. So that door can't be opened by the guy that owns your castle, can't be opened by someone who has keys in the faction. It can only be opened by you. That's now your area, your home. And we have the ability to do this with everything. So houses, workshops, farm huts, whatever you want, really. It can all be made yours and controlled by you. So that's really cool. We're going to put item chests in these buildings, money chests, so no more banks, no more markets. If you want to store something, you're going to need a place to put it. You're going to have to actually, build a house, have a home, maybe talk to your baron, maybe move in with a friend. These doors can be locked to multiple people if needed. But it just really gives everything meaning and a purpose, and if you want to build something, it can have more of a meaning than just looking cool. We've got separate building tiers. There's villages, camp, and cities that can all do certain things. So the village, they can do farming, horses, cattle, whereas the city can do more advanced armors and weapons and courthouse and really large and extravagant things for when the faction gets to that point and you guys want to be a bit more extravagant, and you guys can name these cities if you want. You guys can do anything you want with these, really. So that's kind of what we're thinking with the building system and how I want it to work. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is factions, houses, and kind of where they all fit into this. So there's 3 factions on the map. There's Britannia, Empire, and Valandia. And in each of these factions is a house, or we call them houses, but they can really be anything. It's just a really easy way to group everything together. So your house could be, a church. You could be a mercenary guild. You could be, say you want to be a tavern group. I really don't care, but every group of players under that falls under a house. And every house is under the faction. So the faction leadership has basically control over everything. They're kind of their own separate entity. A house will be the leading house in that faction. There will always be that, and there's kind of a way to balance it, like balance the power, but still make sure that it resides in one place. And then in those factions, there is a ranking structure, which is what this looks like. It's the nobility. So there's one count in the faction. He kind of runs the place. That count can select 2 knights, and those are kind of, think of them as like a King's Guard type thing. Retinue, if you want. It's just kind of your loyal soldiers, really. For each settlement or landed area that the faction builds, so villages, cities, maybe like a farming community, stuff like that, the count will get to select a baron, and that baron can also select 2 more knights, and all of these people now become nobility inside that faction. The baron doesn't have to be from the leading house. Maybe the baron is from a really powerful house in the faction that the count is trying to appease, and he, schedules this village to be built, and he makes this faction leader the baron of that village, and then they can go and live there and do their own thing, kind of separate, but inside the faction still. The village is still a part of the faction. It's just ruled by that house. And barons can also do other cool stuff. They can select judges. They can kind of make a town council if they like. They really have full control over the town or city or settlement that they're given, only under the count, really. The count can do pretty much anything. He is the leader of the faction. So that's how that works. Inter-house, I'm not really structuring it at all. You guys can do whatever you want. I'm not going to step in. If you guys want to be a mercenary guild and have a lead mercenary, that's fine by me. But this is how the factions are going to work. So when I say a house, I mean house, church, mercenary guild, tavern guild, craftsman. I'm very open with this. It is literally just a group of players, whereas a faction is the more strict and organized group in that group of players. I hope that helps alleviate any concerns. So when you start the map, there's going to be 3 camps, 1 for each faction. All the houses are going to have to live inside these camps until more get built. So if a village gets built, it might get assigned to a different house, and then they can branch off with other houses and go live there. Say you want to start a church. You can have a church inside that house's faction, or that house's settlement, and then you would have 2 houses in 1 settlement, and that's perfectly acceptable, perfectly reasonable. And they can all kind of live together, hopefully in harmony. If not, I mean, that's how she works. You'll have to deal with that as well. But it gives players a way to work together and be separate, play with their friends, play with other people, and kind of really just bring everything together and meld and force people to work together. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of my vision and how I'm expecting the first day, week, and month of this server to look for kind of everyone involved. So the first day, we kind of already are assuming this is going to be fairly rough. It's really our first shot at the public server. We've seen how the devs do, so we're not expecting to do too much better with this. Expect issues. We have the ability now to fix them very rapidly. So if we have map bugs, I can solve those in seconds instead of days. If we have an issue with classes, I can fix that. Items, everything. Anything really can be solved and fixed and patched very rapidly. So just bear with us for the first day or two. We're expecting it to be fairly rough. We are still going to try to do things and have fun during this time, obviously, but just kind of come in and give us a bit of a break here for the first day or two. So day 1, players are going to come in. It's going to be very bare for equipment. You guys are going to be limited to basically cloth, so the weaver hut, spears, and wooden shields. It's going to be pretty difficult. It's mostly going to be focused on gathering resources and trying to get something other than this very small shitty camp going. You guys are going to want walls. You guys are going to want other production buildings. You guys are going to want places to store things. Winter is coming, so you guys are going to have to start thinking about that and filling that granary up with food before winter hits, or you are in for a bit of a problem because all the food disappears during the winter. So I'm expecting the first couple of days to be really focused on that. Who says there isn't wildlings or people that have lived here before lurking in the bushes that you will almost definitely have to defend against? So expect that. There'll be a lot of people getting used to the way things work now. Crafting has been made substantially more difficult, so you guys are going to have to contend with that, and the resource changes. Mining has been adjusted, so you don't just mine iron nodes, coal nodes, gold nodes anymore. Everything is now based on chance. There's only iron nodes now, and those iron nodes have percentage chance to drop things, rare things, unrare things, stones, iron, all of it, and you're gonna have to deal with that as well. So I'm expecting the first really week just to be build the camp, expand the camp, grow food, survive. The wildlings are going to be there. They're going to try to mess you up. The other factions might come by and mess with you, and just kind of everyone's working together to get their footing and figure out really what they're going to do here in this, new world. What the plan is, I feel. After that, we're going to kind of finish our first week off. Hopefully everyone's kind of gotten settled, gotten themselves figured out, kind of got the start at least of a camp, a wall, some production buildings. and after that they're going to want to look to grow. I'm looking probably in a week's time we're going to start seeing our first really small villages start to grow, just kind of farming communities, a few huts, some farms, cows, maybe a horse pasture, just really basic things to start coming up, really small communities. There'll be guys getting more set up in their craftsmen, more what's the word I'm looking for here, more secure in their jobs. You're going to go to this guy if you want spears, you're going to go to this guy if you want leather working. Maybe the factions can set up trade between each other, because maybe the Britannians have access to a different resource than Empire does. I'm not going to spoil anything. And maybe Empire wants some of that, so they're going to facilitate trade with the Britannians, and they're going to set that up that way. Maybe Valandia does something, but just everyone's going to kind of get themselves a bit more situated and kind of figure out where they're standing right now in this world within the first week, and kind of set up small villages. Maybe the Britannians will have a little fishing village or something like that, just kind of more developed, I'll say. And then within a month, I'm expecting people will be a lot more comfortable. They've had a few weeks to grow now. There'll be a city on the map, a couple cities maybe one for each faction, and there'll start to be a lot more high tier things going on. Maybe there'll be a church. Maybe the Valandians will start a religious organization, and you're just going to start seeing a lot more happening, a lot more high tier things. So mercenary guild, a church, I'm trying to think here, taverns, trading. Maybe there's a trade broker for when the Valandians don't want to move the goods, they can just sell to the trade broker and he can deal with it. And people will kind of get set up in their more specialized roles and responsibilities, and things will kind of develop a bit more from there. And then from then on, it's really up to the player base. I mean, it's always up to the player base, but from that point on, I really don't know where the server's going to go. It's really up to the players and what they decide and what they want and how they want their story and the story of their faction and their house and their people to be told. So if you want, to become a rising power in Valandia and try to usurp the throne or, take over a city, that's all on you. And I want players to be able to tell the story, and I want, at the end of this season, I want players to look back and look more on the memories they had and the things that happened, and the great battles, the great locations, the great villages, and be more attached to the story of the world than just really small material things. I want them to be more happy about the story that they got to tell and live and play. And then we will move on to Season 2 and hopefully do it all over again. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That is my plan, though, for the first month, at least, for this server, and hopefully it goes well. We've put a lot of work in behind the scenes, so I'm hoping you guys enjoy it. And if you have any more questions, just DM me on Discord. I'm usually pretty active and open to replies. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you hopefully on Saturday, waiting on the devs for a token that works still.